Hey, happy day after Labor Day. And welcome to this week's episode of FPP Live, a time I connect with you. Now, usually it's on Monday, but this week is on Tuesday because of Labor Day. And I really connect with you to really talk about how you should, if you want to live as the highest and best version who God created you to be, you've got to connect three things: faith, purpose, and profit. And so our conversations on these lives are to give you tools to do just that. So listen, the first Monday of the month, I go live also on my Facebook business page. So if you're there, welcome. Wherever you are, I want you to tell me name and where you're joining from. If I share something that resonates with you, if it's good, then those of you that are on my Facebook business page, there's a link below to share it. And I'm not asking you to share to grow my followers. Not listen. Not that I don't need help with that, because we all need help with that, but that's not my purpose in doing that. There may be someone in your camp that needs this insight, which is why I'm committed the first typical Monday, today's Tuesday of the month, to go live on my Facebook business page. All right. So this is part 4 in a series called The Brilliance School. Now, I started this series back in COVID. We were all stuck in the house that first year, right? Hey, Tamara in Mississippi, welcome. And we were stuck in a house. Y'all remember that? And so I did this in 2020, in May of 2020. And so, as I always do, pray and ask God, what should I begin to teach you when one series ends? And what God reminded me was the Brilliant School. So I'm not going into it as deep as I did when I did that series, because each teaching was an hour, but I'm giving you the highlights. Why? Because there are 4 pieces, 4 strategic areas that you must have clear and strategy around in order to have a revenue generating business. Okay. So that's in essence what I'm walking you through in this 4 or 5 part series. Today is part 4. So our conversation today is what finding your flow activates business success. All this conversation is leading to you finding your flow. Okay. Now, before I start to get into this, let me do a quick review. And if you've missed any of it, let me pull up the my you can go over to my YouTube channel, nrjnetwork.com, and watch the previous episode. So, week 1 was dominate in your lane. Now, listen, there's a Bible verse, and y'all know me, everything has a Bible verse attached. First Peter 4:10 that says, as each one has First Peter 4:10, as each one has received a gift, minister to. I'm getting so excited, y'all can't even read this Bible verse. Okay, let me start again. First Peter 4:10. As each one has received a gift, minister it to one another as good stewards of the manifold grace of God. Now, steward means one appointed to supervise the provision and distribution of, one who actively directs affairs. See, God has given you something, a special gift, a purpose, a calling that you were appointed to supervise the provision of. So if you missed that episode, go watch it. That's as much as I'm gonna say about that one. Then week 2 was the must to take your business, the must to make your business stand out. The must to make your business stand out. Now that must is, listen, you don't need another cookie cutter social media strategy, and you don't need to do whatever you see everybody else doing. It's really in the power of your story and how you use who you be to allow people to experience you. The Bible verse I use for that one is 2 Corinthians 3:3, and this is the message version. And it says, does it sound like we're patting ourselves on the back, insisting on our credentials, asserting our authority? Well, we're not. Neither do we need letters of endorsement, either to you or from you. You yourselves are all the endorsement we need. Your very lives are a letter that anyone can read by just looking at you. Christ himself wrote it, not with ink, but with God's living spirit, not chiseled into the stone, but carved into human lives. And we publish it. How do we publish it? How do you publish your story if nobody knows that you exist? If you don't let people experience you? I need you to understand it's not about the titles, all the things that make you who you are, the doctor, even I got a doctor in front of my name, the doctor in front of your name or the title behind it. None of that matters. To God, it doesn't matter. It's, are you doing the thing he created you to do? And are you allowing people to see you as their answer? The reason I get so passionate about this, I see so many people that don't allow people to see them. Sorry, y'all, got phones ringing. They don't allow people to see them, and therefore, no one knows that they are their answer. I really need you to get this. So it's really in you allowing people to experience you that makes the difference. And that's what social media is about, by the way. Oh, I can go into a whole conversation about that, but go watch week 2. Then last week, I talked about the blueprint that builds revenue. It's the blueprint that builds revenue. Okay. Now, I went into this whole conversation. Again, you guys see it at the bottom of the screen. If you missed last week, go watch it. I'm not going to go through all of it now, but I want you to get this. I always give you 2 or 3 reasons or 2 or 3 steps to take in each episode. Now, this was step number 3. The reason God has created a wealth generating system inside of you, that's called your blueprint. He did it for you to subdue the earth. Listen, Genesis 1:28 says, Then God blessed them and God said to them, Be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth and subdue it, have dominion. Now, listen, subdue means to conquer and bring into subjection, to bring under control, especially by an exertion of the will, to bring under cultivation. So you have a gift. So you have a natural propensity for some things. You're naturally gifted at certain things. And that is what you are called to subdue in. And we need to align our thinking with the work that God has created us to operate in. Do y'all get that? If you have questions I'm sharing, please feel free to ask. I'm looking at the comments. Okay. And so that has been our conversation up to this point. And I'm going to tell you, the reason why each of these now, the way I teach, everything I do builds one on the next. When we look at finding your flow, I need you to understand what does what do I mean about flow? Why finding your flow is really what activates your business success. Why is this flow and why is all of this stuff so important that I've been talking about? So listen, I'm trying to figure out what I want to say first. So I found this Bible verse, this quote by a prophet named Jay-Z. I'm going to read it the way he said it, and then I'm going to insert something here, okay? So, flow is becoming one with the music. You find some place inside the music that you tuck in, and you don't get in the way of the groove. You insert yourself in the song as an instrument. You're no different than the horn or the snare or the brass or the hi hat. It's just smooth and it just flows. Now, I want you to insert your purpose in that place. Flow is becoming one with your purpose. You find some place inside your purpose that you tuck in, or some place that your purpose fits in that you tuck in, and you don't get in the way of the groove. That's the flow, y'all. You insert yourself in that place, and you're no different than the other people around you that are doing what you do. But when you do what you do, it's smooth and it just flows. See, it's you finding your flow that makes you stand out. That's what differentiates you. That's what makes what you do effortless and easy. So I want you to look at it like this too. You're a conduit. You're a channel through which God, his power flows through. Okay? Think about what a conduit is. Think about a plug in the wall, which is a conduit for energy. Think about a faucet that's a conduit for water. So if you look at you as a faucet and your conduit, what's flowing through you is your purpose. I need you to get this. When you don't find your flow, you are holding up not only somebody's answered prayer, you're also holding up God's kingdom work here on earth. I'm going to let that just marinate in you for a minute. So Jeremiah 1:5 says, Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I sanctified you. I ordained you. God knew how he wanted to use you. That's that flow, y'all. This is why everything I've been teaching you is so paramount, because if you don't know it, you can't flow in it. You can't. It's like, imagine if go in your bathroom and look at that faucet and imagine if the faucet wasn't there, where would the water go? Wouldn't the water just go everywhere? See, but when you're clear and you have that faucet and it's flowing through, it's focused and it's going in one direction. Somebody will get that later. I see so many people that don't have, I'm having a hot flash, y'all. Woo, I don't have my fan in here. Look, my fan is on up there, but it ain't helping right now. Listen, I need you to get this. Imagine if there was no faucet, if whoever invented a faucet never invented it. Can you imagine what washing your hands would be like, what washing your face would be like, what taking a bath or a shower would be like? it would be all over the place. And that's how many people are in their business. You are all over the place trying to do everything to everyone, which means you're nothing to no one, which means you don't have clear direction and you don't have clear focus. This is why, before I give you the 3 steps, I'm about to give them to you and break it down for you. But this is why every day of this series, I've been inviting you to join me live. Now, listen, I have a 2-day Bank Warrior Brands Intensive coming up. Let me just invite you to that, walk you through it. And then I'm going to walk you through the 3 steps here. Let me take this off. I'm going to walk you through the 3 steps here. And why am I inviting you every day? Because let me tell you something. I give you as much as I can in these segments, but many of you will need more. Those of you that are ready to be coached and ready to get the tools to implement the 4-part strategy you need to be the conduit, to have your flow, to be the instrument God intended for you to be in this world, you need to get your butt in a seat. And by the way, today is the last day to get $100 off, right? So let me walk you through what you get here, and then I'm going to walk you through the 3 things you got to have to flow. You got to be clear on so that you're like that faucet. All right. So BYB Intensive is where you go. By the way, the dates of the event are September 29th and 30th here in the DC area where I live. I've rented a mansion. I've got a private chef cooking your meals. I'm so excited. But anyway, all right. So let me walk you through what you get as I go into teaching you. Okay. So this is for you if you want to start your business alongside your 9 to 5 the right way, with the right focus, so you can be serving the right people. You can be generating revenue right now alongside your 9 to 5. Some people will tell you to quit, and I'm like, don't do that. And they'll tell you to step out on faith, but I want you to have wise faith, not stupid faith. Ooh, I said it. Yep, I did. So you got to have strategic faith. When you start to generate revenue, and I'm going to show you how to do that. When you begin to generate revenue, and listen, when you start your business, your income is going to be down here. Your daytime job, some of you high 5 figures, some of you maybe in 6 figures. Your paycheck may be here. You need to quit your job until you're generating more revenue than your paycheck, and you can pay yourself what you're at least making now. So you've got to build your business alongside your 9 to 5. Those of you that are looking for funding to start your business, I'm going to tell you now, when you want to start a service-based business, a coach, you're a consultant of some kind, you have this expertise, you want to move into revenue, I need you to understand, lawyer, you want to create more revenue, a accountant, a real estate agent, an insurance broker, I can go on and on and on. I'm talking to you. When you're first starting out, the reason you can't get a loan is because you can't justify the revenue that you're projecting you're going to make, because you haven't made revenue yet. So you've got to spend money to make money. And that spending that money is your own money. So listen, this is what I started calling my daytime job. I started calling my daytime job my investor, because it was investing in me being able to eat, pay for my bills, pay my mortgage, pay for my car, and pay for my business. Okay. So this is for if you want to start your business alongside your 9 to 5, or if you've already started and you aren't making predictable revenue, or you want to create another revenue stream. Sorry, I went off a tangent, y'all, right? So let me tell you what you get. Coaching. So this is not an event where it's a bunch of speakers. It's me and you in those 2 days. It's an intensive, because we're doing the work in those 2 days to get your business started and create revenue in the 4 areas you need. I'm going to walk you through that in a minute. You get a workbook for implementation, because again, I could care less if you're motivated or inspired from what I teach you if you cannot activate it, if you can't implement anything from it. Okay. And if you guys have questions, write comments. Let me open up my comments so I can see. Okay. And then listen, content and teaching to move you forward is the goal in our 2 days together. Okay. So this is what I teach you. This is our agenda. Now I'm going to show you how these 4 steps, mastery of you, optimization, revenue, and execution, I'm going to show you how I'm going to teach you that through the 4-part strategy you need to run a successful business, which actually I've been teaching you here in the Brilliance School. Okay. Now, really, can I tell you, I've only been teaching from the first 2. I'm about to show you. So if you're going to have a successful revenue generating business, you've got to have a purpose strategy. This is where I've been talking to you about mastery and really dominating in your lane. How are you going to be clear and flow through something if you don't even know what that thing is? I see so many people that start businesses that do not have their niche clearly defined. They don't know what lane they're in, and they're all over the place. Hello, there's that faucet. Therefore, their business is not generating revenue. So it's really getting clear on that area God wants you to subdue in. That's the first part of the first day, is mastery. The second part of the first day is tribe building, which is optimization. This is where I teach you how to tell your story in the room. We're going to talk about how do you post on social media and what to post and when to post and how to post and why post and all of that. And what even social media channel is the right fit for you. All of that is based on the power of your story. Listen, posting in social media is not what was coming to my mind when I was saying that was all social media posting is not created equal. Everybody doesn't have the same way they should be posting social media. So, by the way, that's just day one, y'all. And can I tell you, that's all that I've talked about already in the Brilliance School. Now, next week, as I wrap up the Brilliance School, I'm going to talk to you about these last two steps. But before I walk you through these two, the reason I've spent 4 weeks on these two are because these are the two people overlook, and they want to make money, but they don't want to get clear on what their lane is. They don't want to get clear on the area that God created them to dominate in. They don't want to get clear on where and how they should subdue it. That's that faucet. And then they don't want to spend the time getting clear on how do you allow people to experience you. So many people fight me on this. And I'm going to tell you, until you get these two right, your business will fail miserably. Some people don't tell you. So then we're going to move into the next area. This is day two, multiple revenue streams. By the way, we create 6 revenue streams in your business in the room. We do an exercise called Revenue Wheel. And then last but not least is your business on autopilot. How do you make money in your sleep? Your business has to be working for you while you are not present. We talk about all these things at the Bankroll Your Brains Intensive, but we don't just talk about them. We do the work so you implement them in your business. I am stopping so I can laser coach you. Again, you get a workbook so you can be doing the work in the room so that you leave with a, I call it a master biz plan on how you're going to implement this all. Okay. No, that's wrong. I should have fixed that. You get $100 off. Today is the last day, y'all. BYB Intensive is the last day to get $100 off. Okay. So again, the website is bybintensive.com. So if you know now's your time to start your business, I need you to be in the room. Okay. So let me finish walking you through the flow, finding your flow, and why finding your flow activates business success. Okay. So there are 3 things so this is, by the way, if you're with me, this is one of my favorite Bible verses, Ephesians 3:20. Now to him who is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we ask or think, according to the power that works in us, the power that works in us. So if a conduit is being a channel through which God's power flows, God's power is in us. God wants us to be that conduit. That's how we do our flow. So finding your flow means you've got to be clear on number one, who needs you, because that's who you're flowing to. You got to know why do they need you, and you've got to know how you will fulfill that need. Because listen, if the prescription is wrong, or excuse me, no, if the diagnosis is wrong, how's the prescription going to be right? I'm gonna say that again because some of y'all didn't get that yet. If the diagnosis is wrong, meaning if you don't understand who your ideal client is and how they need you, how are you going to give them a prescription? You are their prescription. So you've got to be able to diagnose their problem and know how to meet their need in a way that is unique to your own flow. And yes, we're talking about that in the room at Bankroll Your Brains Intensive. But what I see is people fail because they're focused on the wrong things and they're worried about what other people have to say, or they're trying to be everything to everybody. And all of that sets you up to fail in your business. And all of that has nothing to do with your flow. None of that. You focusing on the wrong things again means you're trying to be everything to everybody, or your water is going everywhere. And who buys a house that wants a faucet where the water goes everywhere? Nobody. hmm So the bottom line is that you've got to be clear on how God created you and what your flow is. Again, I love this quote by Jay-Z. Flow is becoming one with your purpose. You find some place inside that purpose, inside where God created you to dwell, that you tuck in and operate your purpose from there. And you don't get in the way of the groove. You don't. You insert yourself as an instrument. Because listen, you are an instrument. You're an instrument in God's music. You get that? Your purpose is a part of a symphony. You're no different than anybody else that does what you do, except for your flow. because when you flow in what you do, it's smooth. And that is what differentiates you. So are there other people that do what you do? Of course. There's no new idea under the sun. It's not. I'm not saying anything that's new. Some of you guys have heard this before, but my question is if you've heard it before, why have you not taken action? Some of you are resonate. You resonate with me like no one else you've ever seen before. You know why? Because I'm meant to coach you. Just like all the people that need you, when they see you and experience you, they will see that they need you as their coach. So it's ultimately all about you finding your flow. I was trying to download this video so I could show you a faucet and you can really get an idea of how a faucet really works. But I want you to really think about that. Tonight, as you go prepare for bed, whether you wash your face in your sink or you brush your teeth or you take a shower or a bath, watch how that water flows. It's amazing that a reservoir, which is God, come on, somebody, has a water. When you turn the knob, the water from the reservoir flows through the pipes into your sink. It's a system. Now, I heard me talk about systems last week. That's a system too. And who wants to live in a house where the water doesn't flow? Nobody. We all need water. Just like each of us need each other. Each of us are the answer to each other's needs. And when you find that flow and you tuck in it, when you do the thing God crafted and created you to do, and you listen, can I tell you that you love what you do and you're good at it? Then there is no stopping you. That's when you get into the place to subdue and have dominion, just as God intended. And that also allows you to be fruitful and to multiply, right? So that's it for this week. I'm not going to belabor it. Listen, it's the day after Labor Day. I hope you all had a phenomenal weekend. I really hope you stopped and celebrated your labor. Do you know we spend 80% of our lives at work? 80%. Those of you that hate doing what you do, that's not what God intended for you. Those of you that didn't want to go to work today and you couldn't get up this morning, that's not what God intended for you. If God wants us to live abundantly above all we could ever ask or think, He wants us to love what we do and be serving the world as we do it. So, those of you that are ready to get in alignment with that, and make money for your own self as you do it, I look forward to serving you with the BYB Intensive Tech. Check out the page. Again, today is the last day that you get $100 off. And with that, next week, I'll be back to wrap up the Brilliance School with a bow as we talk about revenue making methodology. That might call it something different, but I am going to walk you through the revenue making methodology, sales system and back end system. Both of those you need, but I cannot emphasize enough. You need a purpose system and a tribe building system in order for those two systems to even activate the revenue, the abundance, the wealth that God has your name on. All right. So thank you for joining us. Listen, everyone, if you're getting value out of these episodes, can you do me a favor? Those of you that are either in YouTube or if you're on my business page is NRJ Enterprises with Nicole Roberts Jones. Will you share it? Because there's somebody else in your camp that has been praying for this insight, that knows that it's time for her to start a business and she doesn't know where to begin. I want to make sure she gets this insight because she needs it. All right. And then second thing I want to ask you to do is share the one thing you got valuable out of this conversation. Tell me the thing you got that was most valuable to you. All right. So with that said, again, thank you for joining us for this episode. I'll see you next week for our last part 5 in the Brilliant School. Bye, y'all.